Question. Did you have bad parents growing up? If you did, you probably spent some of your childhood wondering how life would be different with different parents. Did you have good parents growing up? If you did, you probably spent no time in your life as you grew up wondering how life would be different if you had different parents. It's the same conversation that comes up with quarterbacks all the time. The NFL is filled, and the former NFL community is filled with quarterbacks and players that wondered how their life would be different if they'd been drafted by a different franchise, by a different coach. Now, there's a few guys that don't wonder. Patrick Mahomes doesn't wonder. Jalen Hurts, when he signed his $255 million contract, didn't wonder. Some guys are very unique, like Tua. Tonga Vailoa used to wonder. Doesn't wonder anymore. He knows. Justin Herbert might be wondering, but we all feel pretty confident that doesn't matter where you put him, the floor would be high. We just don't know if he'll ever reach his ceiling. Will he ever win a championship? He's probably wondering. If he's not, he should be. And you know who isn't wondering? Brock Purdy's not wondering. Yesterday during the live Haberman and Middlekoff pod somebody asked a question that we didn't have time for. We didn't get to it. And the question was something like, have the Brock rankings gone too far? And of course, the answer is no, because rankings are fun. So who cares? If they're overreactive or too soon or change later, I don't care. Maybe you do, but I don't. And the reality is that they don't really matter. At least they don't matter until it comes time to pay a guy. That's when they matter. Rankings eventually matter, or at least comps matter, but they don't matter now in the middle of the first month of the season when a guy's in the second year of his contract and when he wasn't a highly drafted player. So let's go back to this tweet from 10 months ago. This is from a guy named Austin Gale, used to be at PFF, now he's at the Ringer. And this is last December, actually, December 13th, 2022. He said, the only quarterbacks I'd choose over simply having Kyle Shanahan as a head coach or play caller are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, and Trevor Lawrence. Now, since this tweet's from December, I updated this tweet. I crossed out Dak, and I wrote in Mike McDaniel. Not Josh McDaniels, Mike McDaniel. And I guess I could have crossed out Kyle Shanahan. I could have added McDaniel somewhere else, but this is where I added McDaniel. McDaniels feels like he's on that list right now. This is the ranking that matters, right? The ranking that matters for Brock is, can you win a Super Bowl? And the answer is yes. Brock Purdy can win a Super Bowl this year with the 49ers. And it's not because he's the 7th best quarterback in the league or the 3rd best quarterback in the league or the 15th best quarterback in the league. Or I know the Ringer's doing their rankings. I think he's moved up to like 27th or 26th or something. He's closing in on Justin Fields in their rankings, so that's good news. But it doesn't really matter where he is in those rankings. The question is, can he, combined with Kyle Shanahan, win a Super Bowl? And the answer is yes, because I think fundamentally this is a very good tweet. And I think Austin, and he recently updated it, this list is too long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There aren't 7 quarterbacks you'd rather have than Kyle Shanahan. Maybe it's 6. I wouldn't rather have Dak than Kyle Shanahan. But if I were Dak, I would much rather play for Kyle Shanahan. And I think we talk about Dak differently if he did. And we talk about Dak like he's, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he's not tier 1. So here is the ranking. Look at this pace. And this is the most important ranking for Brock Purdy in the future. Austin posted this graphic here. Expected points added. On the left here, actually, I'm going to make it bigger. On the left here are the expected points added, EPA. And on the bottom, we've got the number of games the guys play. So cumulative drop back expected points added on the left, game number on the right. So this is the Kyle Shanahan quarterback graphic. True Media is who put this out. This is the graphic, okay? Up here, way up at the top, this green line leads up to Matt Ryan, the best Kyle Shanahan quarterback in history. It didn't matter that he kept getting snaps. He kept also adding value and getting better. Jimmy Garoppolo. This is Jimmy way over on the right over here. I need like a laser pointer on this thing. This is Jimmy. He's the blue line, and he played a lot of snaps and was pretty steady. Leveled off a little, pretty steady. Matt Schaub never had to wonder what life would be like if he had Kyle Shanahan. He was left wishing that he never left him, but he never had to wonder what life would be like with him. Here's RG3, who leveled off a little bit. Then we got this group of guys like Nick Mullins and Donovan McNabb, Rex Grossman, and CJ Beathard, and Brian Hoyer, who Brock is already ahead of that pace here, a handful of games in. So this is the pace that matters, right? This is the rank that matters. Where does he rank among Kyle Shanahan quarterbacks? That'll be the rank 30 and 40 games in that matters. If he ranks where Jimmy Garoppolo ranks, but never gets hurt, well, then he's probably still the quarterback. If he ranks where Matt Ryan ranks, now you got something special. And right now, everybody, this is the fun of rankings. This is why I don't hate on the rankings or anybody's rankings, although I might disagree with them. That's the fun of ranking a guy 11 games into a career or whatever the number is. I don't like the 11-0 when he has I saw this stat. He's 11-0 when he has the most completion attempts for his team, or he's 11-0 when he starts and finishes a game. Staying healthy is part of the deal here. So he's 11-1 as a starter. That's whatever the number is. You got to, I decided it yesterday that I'm going to start including the NFC Championship game. Staying healthy is part of the game. Nobody uses that stat with Tom Brady. Oh, when he starts and finishes, so you hope eventually your career is long enough that game gets included eventually, right? If he has the career that you all want him to have, that everybody wants him to have, then eventually the NFC Championship game actually gets counted. In 30 years, no one will look back at his Football Reference if he plays for 15 years and go, he is 158 and 72 in games he starts and finishes. But if you count the NFC Championship, he's 158 and 73. Won't matter. So that's what you hope, that eventually won't matter. Anyway, here he is, trending very well. In the YouTube community, we call this velocity. A good graph to start and a few hours into a video's posting. So that's the one that matters, right? That's the one that matters. Here's something to keep an eye on right now. This is from Pro Football Focus. This is allowed pressure. How much is a quarterback responsible for their own pressure? And over in this column, I think you can probably see it highlighted. It's QB pressure. It's the percentage of dropbacks that a quarterback bears some responsibility for the pressure on him, whether partially his fault or totally his fault. Matthew Stafford led the NFL in this category last year. 4% of the drop back pressures that he faced were his fault. Not a lot. This year, Matthew Stafford leads the league again. It's at 2%. So, we're at a 3-game sample size here. This is a small sample size. Last year, Purdy was much higher than this. Purdy was 29.7% last year. That put him in the same category as Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Garoppolo and Mahomes were in that range. Josh Allen was in that range. Guys trying to make plays with their legs, right? Guys extending plays. This year, so far, here it is. Matthew Stafford 1, Trevor Lawrence 2, Brock Purdy 3, Joe Burrow 4. Those are the quarterbacks least responsible for the pressure that they have faced this year. So I would say the Matthew Stafford number, it's half of last year's number, but it's still reflective of what he was last year, which is a quarterback who understands I'm not extending plays with my legs. I'm a sitting duck back here. Maybe my O-line has some deficiencies. Let's get the ball out. Good coach. Good coach. I think we see some good offensive coaches there at the top of the list too. But I think this is something that we got to watch develop. One thing John and I talked about yesterday was how much does Kyle Shanahan love Brock Purdy? And I think it's really not just about him. I think this graph, this pressure graph, reflects how much everybody tends to like their quarterback. Because if the quarterback doesn't bring pressure on himself, then it means that if you do your job properly, and if the other guys do their job properly, the quarterback isn't going to be the one to screw it up. The quarterback can't get benched for 2 series to get his mind right without it becoming a thing. We can't rotate him at guard. We can't take a few snaps off to let him catch his breath, right? The quarterback, when he gets hit by Aaron Donald, and it's 3rd down and long, and the crowd is getting louder and louder and louder, and you're covering your ears to hear the play call. The quarterback doesn't go, you know what? Tap on the helmet, give me a play to let me collect myself. Like most other offensive linemen don't really get to do that either. Wide receiver, you can do it. Running back, tap on the helmet, just got trucked on this blitz. Let me take a moment, collect myself. QB, you go finish this drive. I got you on the next one. Quarterback doesn't get to do that, right? So the quarterback's ability to make sure that when everybody else does their job right, they're not the one to screw it up. It's critical to their ability to build trust within their roster. If the coach says, I called the right play, and the left tackle and the right guard and the tight end, they say, I blocked. The offensive line, we blocked this play properly. And the receiver goes, ran my route properly and won on the route against another elite corner. I did my job to get open. Are you going to put the ball where it's supposed to be? Or are you going to be back there running around trying to make another play than the one the coach called and the one the offensive line blocked and then the route that I ran? Are you going to be back there? Maybe you're not doing it on purpose. Maybe you just don't see it. Because if that happens, that's when the wide receiver does this. And that's when the O-linemen start grumbling in the O-line room. And that's when the quarterback coach and the head coach go, I don't know, what about the other guy? And when you are not responsible for any of the pressure that's on you, but of course you're the quarterback, you don't blame anybody. You go, that's on. I got to be better, man. That one's on me. I know 4 guys were bearing down on me and my receiver was covered and the play call was bad and the quarterback and my coach didn't anticipate that blitz, but that one's on me. It's all good. You are in great shape. And here's the beauty with this quarterback, right? And this goes back to the ranking that matters. It's not all on him. If he does his job, then we know it's going to go pretty well, because we know that the odds are that Ayuk or Debo or McCaffrey or Kittle or Juice or Juwan Jennings or maybe Ronnie Bell, one of them is going to win. And we know that the coach, hell of a coach, he's in a great spot. You don't start ranking. You don't start ranking until you're much later in life. Brock is still in this little pouch. This Kyle. I guess Kyle isn't the bird. This bird is bringing him. So Brock's not in the pouch. Brock got brought to Kyle already. The sun is shining on him. He's in a great spot. Everything's great. Everything's fine. The ranking that matters in the big picture is this one. Will he become the guy that becomes a franchise quarterback, right? If Kyle Shanahan had drafted Matt Ryan, he either would have stopped, he would have moved on very quickly, or he'd just have become Matt Ryan's head coach, right? And they might have been together for 15 years, and it would have been as good as Matt Ryan's career was. It would have been better. The beauty of having the play caller be the head coach is he never leaves for another job. When he's got this guy, he just stays coaching him, and it's all good. And you can be together for 10 years or 15. That's the ranking that matters for Brock. He's in the perfect spot. So is he 15th or 12th? I don't know. Can he win a Super Bowl? Yes. Why? He's on this team. And then in 2 or 3 years, you'll have to decide, can he win a Super Bowl if you pay him $50 million a year and he's not on this version of this team? But that's 3 years from now's problem. And it'd be a good problem to have. So Brock and Kyle fit together well. Foles, Flacco, Dilfer, Brad Johnson all won rings, and they're not superstars. Brock can absolutely win a Super Bowl. Well, there's 2 conversations happening with Brock. One is, can he have a Super Bowl? The other is, did you find your franchise quarterback? Once upon a time, the Ravens thought they did it with Flacco. I don't think Brad or Dilfer were guys that they were viewed as franchise quarterbacks. and the Eagles had another quarterback when they won a championship, so they knew Foles. So the only guy that in this category that could he be a franchise quarterback was Flacco. The answer was no. So the hope is that Brock won't he'll partly be a part of this group, but he also won't because he'll become a franchise quarterback. And the thing you'd say is none of these guys, right, had Kyle Shanahan. Yep. Yeah. Don't love it. Honestly, I hate it. And if I could change it, I would. But it grows quickly, and I got to shave everything. So I got to keep that going. Thanks, Ruben. It's a great topic right now. It is rare that you get to be in this moment of an evolving quarterback on a winning team. And, we spend a lot of time talking about evolving quarterbacks on bad teams. We talk about already evolved quarterbacks on good teams, right? Like Mahomes. It's rare you get to talk about an evolving quarterback, to watch it happen as a team is also winning. Robbie asked, guy, who'd take McDaniel over Shanahan? In Brock's first game, Kyle Shanahan smoked McDaniel last year so bad that Wes Welker was crying about catches that weren't catches. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I don't understand that reference about Pepperidge Farm, but I don't know why anybody. Because I said maybe you crossed out Shanahan on that graphic. I just meant like Shanahan or McDaniel. My point is McDaniel is now on the list of guys so far that you would take over some of the best quarterbacks in the league based on what he's done with Tua. Can you do the graph for running backs? What graph? That was a True Media. Somebody paid a lot of money to get this graph made by subscription. So I don't have that True Media subscription that Austin had access to at the Ringer or wherever. So I'd love to see that graph. Maybe that graph exists. They haven't gone far enough. People still underrate him because of draft status. Yeah, I think that's true. Mostly. I also think when you've played less than a full season of NFL football, some people are just naturally going to go, I need to see more. And that's a legit take. I need to see more is a legit take. And saying, hey, this guy is in a great situation is not necessary. Some people might use that. It's not necessarily denigrating to say this guy's in a great situation, a perfect situation. And, if he were the quarterback of the the Steelers right now, that it wouldn't be as good. I think it's fair. This goes back to what I said at the beginning. Joe Montana doesn't sit around staring out of the window going like, man, if I'd never had Walsh, what would have happened? Doesn't matter. He had Walsh. It worked out great. So he doesn't do that thing, right? The guy who didn't have Walsh does it. Brock has Kyle, so he doesn't have to sit there going, God, what would have happened to me if I didn't have Kyle? He's got him. The guys we do that for, we wonder. That's what we were doing with Tua for a while, right? Maybe one day we'll look back at Herbert and be like, what would have happened if he'd had one coach for 10 years? Maybe he won't. Andres, 49ers Dolphins Super Bowl would be awesome to watch, but give me PTSD at the same time with all that speed. Early pick, I'll take the under on the points scored in the Niners Dolphins Super Bowl. We go into that thing going like, is this game going to be 54-50? And then Shanahan and Mike McDaniel would just ground and pound each other like two generals fighting before the airplane was invented and before the advent of the powdered gun. It would just, they would just be lining up, shields up, like in long pointy things, and just running down the hill at each other. I mean, it would be, give me the under on Niners Dolphins Super Bowl total points right now. September 27th, I'm taking the under. If we get that Super Bowl, I'm taking the under. That number is going to be too high. And those two guys are going to be that number is going to be too high. Dumb man. Everyone is always trying to define what they have. Brock is a little bit of an enigma, but he's definitely a good quarterback. The less time you have to evaluate, the more likely you are to be wrong. The key is evaluating with minimal information when there are stakes, when you are drafting, when you are going through free agency, right? When you're picking between two quarterbacks and can't, whatever. The key, that's when there's stakes. Right now, there's no stakes for ranking Brock, right? So you and me, when we rank Brock right now, or whoever does it, is afforded a low stakes game with plenty of runway and plenty of time to. I can say, I don't want to rank him now. Let's rank him in 3 years, because it doesn't matter to rank him now. I mean, rank him by all means. I'll rank him as much as the next guy. I'm happy to do it. We did it last week or 2 weeks ago. We can do it again. I'll do it all day. But when it really matters is going to be if they've won and it comes time to pay him. And you go, what is he? But right now he's less than a season in. So you don't have to do that yet. In terms of with stakes, Do you think there's a better QB in Purdy's draft class other than Trevor Lawrence right now? Bones McCoy. All right. Let's make sure we didn't miss anybody here. I don't think so. Off the top of my head. I mean, who would it be? Pickett? No. I got somebody ranked them here, but whatever. Malik Willis, no. Kenny Pickett, no. Sam Howell, no. Desmond Ridder, no. Matt Corral, no. I don't know that guy. Bailey Zappi, Skylar Thompson, who went ahead of him, no. No, I don't. I mean, in Lance's draft. Sorry, I was like, Trevor, yeah. Do you think there's a better QB than Purdy in Lance's draft class? Got it. Okay. I understand the question now. That was my mistake. Career, here we go. Is this it? No. Mills, no. Fields, no. Mac Jones, no. Zach Wilson, no. Trevor Lawrence. Just give me Wiki. That's what I need. Or we'll go. Actually, Wiki will let me do positional better. I think. There we go. Position. Oh, make sure I don't miss anybody, even though I think the answer is no. Okay, here we go. Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, yes. Zach Wilson, no. Trey Lance, no. Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Okay, here's the other guys we didn't mention. Kyle Trask, no. Kellen Mond, no. Davis Mills, no. Ian Book, no. Sam Ellinger. No, what is this? Yeah, there you go. So no, great question. That's a good question. Yeah, I follow you. I like that question. What's the stuff? I wrote it down, but it's gone. Oh, the cheap stuff is Axe, and then on top of Axe, you put Rough Rider. Let's go to your local. Evan Murphy. That's the stuff right there. Just a little hold. Just a little hold reduces the shine just a little bit. All right. Got to roll. Thanks for hanging, everybody. Have a great day. We are, as always, on this channel and on our podcast brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. If you want to check that out, check it out wherever you get your stuff. Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. While you're here, like this video, subscribe to this channel. Helps it out. Appreciate it a lot. Check out the podcast John and I did yesterday on the channel. Or if you're on the move, just go down to the description of this video. Click on the podcast feed. You'll get the podcast link. It'll take you right to the feed. And you can take yesterday's podcast where we talked about a ton of stuff on the road with you or, in your ear while you're doing whatever you're doing, pretending to work. Thanks for hanging, y'all. And Michael, this is a topic for another time, but that's a good topic. All right. Got to roll. Thanks for hanging. Have a great day. Like, subscribe. Later.